Hello, it's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akashat Zabiri. How you doing?
Hello, Morayo. I'm fine. I'm grateful to God. I'm looking forward to the last quarter of the year. But some people are already sending Happy New Month messages.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I don't know why they bother.
Hey, Happy New Month. Yay, 1st of September. Yeah.
You will do that thing too.
I usually don't, actually. I usually don't, but people always send messages. Yeah. It's an opportunity to say hello to people that you don't ordinarily say hello to.
Well, okay, so Happy New Month.
Yeah, good. So we have our guest co-host today, Mojibade in the building.
Thank you.
How are you doing? Tell us a bit about yourself, what you're doing.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here, first of all. Like, you know how I watch Your View, and now I'm the view. But I'm really happy to be sitting with you women. It's so beautiful to be here. So hi, everyone. I'm the guest co-host today. I'm really happy to be here. And, you know, talking about New Month and stuff, you know, interestingly, I used to wish people Happy New Month. But on social media, people now say, what's the meaning of Happy New Month? I started feeling like, oh, maybe I should stop. But why am I stopping? Because people don't want to. I mean, it's not a big deal. Happy New Month. Happy New Month. I won't let social media tension me. Happy New Month. Welcome to September.
Yeah. You know, I have a mentor too that I'll send Happy New Month. Say, what is this about? Don't talk to this nonsense.
And then I stopped.
So I kind of stopped.
Maybe it's bad. I'm like, no, it's not bad.
But listen, do it because you want to do it.
Yeah, actually.
Hello, Mariam.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm great. As of today, I'm a parent of a secondary school student. So proud.
Fantastic.
My God.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that. I really feel proud. Like, you know, and when I was talking to him, he's excited, he's not scared, you know, so that also gives me confidence. And I'm just looking forward to the next 6 years of our lives.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Proud mom.
By the time it comes, you're just so tall. I mean,
you know, his voice will break.
Yeah.
And then he won't want to follow me and do stuff. Yeah. Or don't hug me, don't kiss me. So I'm just
making a whole new world.
Did you cry this morning?
Oh, no, I haven't cried yet. I feel like we haven't gone off to boarding school yet. So.
Okay.
Oh, cool. We're also a close family member, and the same area where they're trying to get their daughter into secondary school is a major thing. And they've decided the school is not one of the schools that we would ordinarily want to take our children to. But after research, it's actually a very good school. So I'm even thinking of taking my daughter there. But it's one of those schools that you just think, why would you take your child to this school? But it's an interesting conversation at this phase in their lives where you're now talking about the kind of school. But I think I like this.
I had like last. So if you guys need any help with
questions,
come and meet me.
Okay, veteran. And she's
veteran.
But you see, our daughter is in secondary school now.
Yeah, but this is my time.
Okay, so you're not the best to cross over.
This is the year we get
crossed.
This is our year for warrior.
Yeah, this is
next year we're going to be doing this.
Scouting. This year.
This year we'll start scouting. Yeah. We're going to start this journey. So next year we'll be also
writing exams and stuff.
Okay, I'm in good company when I need my own advice.
Exactly.
Easily.
I'll come to all three of you.
I'm telling you. Let's go on a break. It's Thursday. It's our gisting day. When we come back, we're going to go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. PDP crisis, IU hits Wike or Tom Makinde and Ikpeazu. Aviation fuel price hike may affect our operations, CS Amal warns. 2035 fossil fuels deadline will hurt economy, says MAN. Investors maintain 4.5 trillion naira gains for 8 months. Akeredolu accuses federal government of bias in Tompolo's pipeline contract. EFCC probing Zamfara governor for alleged money laundering. And Lagos Okada ban phase 2 enforcement kicks off. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Okay, so let me start with the aviation fuel hike. And the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Oludayo Amao, was talking about the cost of Jet A1, that's the aviation fuel, and how it's affecting their job, in securing and, flying their aircrafts. He took an inventory of all the aircrafts that they have. He said they have about 12 A29 Tucano. They have Super Tucano aircrafts that were bought. They have 39 new aircrafts in total. They have, he talked about how they're also buying at 950 naira per liter. And the budget for aviation fuel for them is 360 naira per liter. The difference is just too wide. And so he says, of course, the implication, he was given a paper titled The Management of Emerging Air Threats, and the implication of strengthening governance in Nigeria. And he talked about how these old issues that we thought was affecting only the people that are flying is affecting security as well, because they then have to carry out surveillance around certain areas using these jets, and the budget for it is just outrageously low compared to what the reality is. I hope that the policymakers are reading this and, they do the needful.
Okay. So I have the EFCC is investigating the governor of Zamfara State, Governor Bello Mohammed Matawalle, over alleged money laundering. The EFCC said it got intelligence that claimed and alleges that the governor has used a particular company to buy a property in Abuja. The details of the place is written here. So it says plot 729, Cadastral Zone C16, Ido Industrial Estate in Abuja, and it was worth 1.2. I had to count the zeros again. 6 zeros is what?
6 zeros
is a million. 9 zeros here. So here are 9 zeros, and it's so like 1.2 billion is what this property cost. And they say from investigation, it looked like he was using state funds for this purchase. The reason, also they're in court because the EFCC had gone ahead to try and close the place down, and the company that's claiming to be the owner and not affiliated, and claiming is not affiliated to the governor, is called Faisal Company, and this company say that they acquired the land and they gave it out to another company called Beisha Printing Press. But EFCC claims that given the intelligence that they have, that all this can be traced back to the governor of Zamfara State. They said that one of those staff members that they had questioned, who first denied any affiliation to the governor, when they went through her phone, they saw that she actually works with the governor. Right. They are in court. The court says that EFCC is wrong in the procedure and the way that it went and locked down the place, that there are ways to do it. They would have gone to court first, and it was a... And so, yes, so that you should have obtained a court order before doing that. So we'll hear how this goes, and EFCC should, try less to make mistakes. Yes.
All right, go ahead.
So I have Lagos Okada ban, phase 2 enforcement kicks off. My concern, I like the concept of the Okada ban because especially here, I see that the decision, and position of government on Okada ban is very clear, and we're not compromising on this decision, which is to further consolidate on the achievement made so far with particular reference to decrease in accidents and crime. Decrease in accidents, yes, but crime, I don't really agree because we're displacing these people of their means of livelihood. What are we doing to replace what they have? Because invariably, we are actually increasing crime because these guys are just going into streets, going into neighborhoods and causing more harm. So, yes, accidents, I agree, but, the crime rate, I don't agree.
All right. Let's move. I was going to take the major headline. I've been following the PDP crisis. So there's an update because the chairman, Dr. Yocha Ayu, has finally spoken up. And when he spoke, trust me, things kind of escalated the crisis because he was saying that, all these children, where were you when I was in government? When PDP was being formed, where were you? And he didn't mention anybody's name. But the reporter was able to deduce that he was chairman of, he was actually a minister in the cabinet of the ex-president, Segun Obasanjo. And during that time, Wike was chairman of the local government in Rivers State. Also, even before then, in 1992 to 1993, when Wike was a law student, Dr. Ayu had actually served as Senate president. So when Dr. Ayu is talking, people like Wike, they are children. That's what he was saying.
It also means he stayed too long.
Well, that's another angle. You know. Anyways, another angle is that Atiku's victory doesn't affect the chairman's position. He won his election based on the party's constitution, and he did not commit any offense. According to him, he's there to reform the party, and that all this noise is not what is going to concern, and he refused to step down because he was constitutionally elected by the party. Of course, lots of people have come together. So we have Governor Mimiko, former Governor Mimiko, the current governor of Oyo State, all trying to have the committee be set up to try to reconcile both ends. But it is as if they don't want to agree on this matter. Let's move on quickly now to the Punch 2023 polls. APC presidential aspirant Sean Abuja meeting. Cooker at 70 in Nigeria derailing needs right leaders, says Jonathan. EFCC arrests 13 illegal miners, impounds 5 trucks. Nigeria records over 1.7 million rights violations, children worst hit. 32 states fail to attract investment in Q2. Strike, ASU welcomes governor's intervention, wants sincerity. Name terrorism sponsors all thieves, Obi tells federal government. And I won't allow anyone to destabilize PDP, says IU. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I'll take the picture story. That is the 70th birthday of Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Cooker, in Abuja. So the event also had a theme, and the theme is Nigeria's unfinished greatness, next steps. And there were lots of dignitaries that were there. One time, our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, was there, and he also made a speech. And basically, he was just saying that, you know, our democracy is something that we should hold on tightly to. What we have achieved so far, even though the progress may seem slow, but at least we're progressing. But that there are signs that shows that if we're not careful, we're heading towards fascism. I don't get it because I know what fascism is, and I don't know those signs that he's talking about. You know, that's totalitarianism, authoritarianism. I don't see that as of now, but he says he's seen some of those signs, so we should be careful. And then mention the fact that the general elections are coming up. We should be careful the sort of leaders that we vote in. Okay. So the governor, which I thought this was interesting, the governor of Sokoto State also mentioned that because Bishop Cooker's criticisms are seen as controversial, but it's because he really wants the best for our country, and he knows that we can have a new Nigeria. So,
I like that in attendance are, you know, aspirants, you know, vying for
some of the aspirants.
Yes.
Okay, let's take another story. You have a story, Mojibade?
So I'll take the Nigeria records over 1.7 million rights violation, and children were the most hit. I'm just like, how? How did we get here? And, you know, the spikes, especially, you know, when you hear of social media and people reporting cases, we're not going to be quiet. But how did we get here? Like, what's going on? Sexual and gender-based violence, what are we doing? So they're reporting these figures, but how are they tackling it? I mean, it's not enough to just come out and say, oh, okay, this is happening, but how are we tackling these things, and what are we going to do going forward? We have this report now. What is the commission doing to actually say, okay, you know what, these are the cases where we're investigating this, and we're going to punish offenders? We're not getting those reports, so it keeps going up. And
Okay,
so I have the EFCC story. So the EFCC arrested, and they've confirmed it, 13 illegal miners. They said, the spokesperson for the EFCC Kwara State said that they were arrested in the Kakafu village in Patigi local government area of the state, and they were arrested over non-payment of royalties to the federal government. So they are either illegal or they are not defaulting in payments. It's one of the two. Okay. But the thing don't confuse. So they said that they worked in collaboration with other agencies, and that led to the arrest. Okay,
let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I was going to take the major headline and Punch says 2023 poll, APC presidential aspirant Sean Abuja meeting. So what happened was that the youngest aspirant amongst them, Dr. Nicholas Felix, had actually tried to get all the former APC aspirants together to come to Abuja yesterday for a meeting. Now, we had read that paper sometime last week. I think we expected that the meeting would hold. But unfortunately, many of them didn't show up. One of the chieftains, however, spoke confidentially to a point saying that they can't be converging because, I mean, Felix, first of all, Dr. Felix didn't have the authority to call for the meeting, first of all. Then secondly, that the current aspirant doesn't, it seems as if the current aspirant doesn't need them anyway for the polls. So he's not taking it seriously, and the body language of all the various aspirants is as if they don't really, there's no need to come together. So everybody just went out. One says, I'm going to the US. The only female said her mother is sick, she couldn't attend. Nobody really gave their commitment to that meeting. It would have been a good meeting to see all the former aspirants together in one place. But I
also heard some quarters saying they were not even aware of the meeting.
Well, that's what yes, you're right. Some others said they didn't went out, but most of them, according to Dr. Felix, had told everybody for that meeting. Moving on now to Vanguard. PDP IU blows hot, says calls on him to quit is childish. Let's find a story. Access Bank leading sustainable banking in Nigeria. In US, PLB vows to increase electricity or leave presidency. Flight suspension. Emirates makes U-turn, resumes operations in Nigeria. That's good news for many people. APC presidential aspirants meeting cancelled for lack of interest. Nance to state varsity resume work. Your decision to join strike is unpatriotic. Akeredolu Okowa at daggers drawn over pipeline surveillance contracts. We don't abduct or terrorize citizens, says DSS, and refutes the Amnesty International's report. Okay.
So I'll start with that. I think that's a public service announcement. So the spokesperson for DSS, Dr. Peter Afunaya, in a statement says that the attention of the Department of the State Service, DSS, has been drawn to the false publication by an online newspaper, People's Gazette, where it had quoted Amnesty International, stating that the SSS in this present administration abduct Nigerians. And so the DSS they said they are outrightly denying this. They say it's all lies, and then calling on the media to do a better job, of fact-checking, and just be careful, to send false messages. And they are also giving these particular Gazette newspaper, online paper, a warning, People's Gazette, a warning, and saying that this is not the first or the second time that they've done this, and they should be careful going forward. I think it's important that they have come out to refute it, because sometimes we hear this story and everybody moves with it and we forget about it. But it's important that we make strong categorical statements, for this. So,
anybody have a story?
Okay. So I'll take the Access Bank story that says Access Bank leading sustainable banking operations. So according to the Deputy Managing Director, Chizoma Okoli, she said when she was speaking at the Sustainable Banking Roundtable organized by the bank, Central Bank of Nigeria, Financial Nigeria, in Abuja yesterday. So creating a society where sustainable development lies at its core has become a priority for Access Bank, and I think that's very important. Yeah. She also said that we work with United Nations Environment Programme's Finance Institute and other leading banks as the only West African bank to develop the principles for responsible banking. For me, it's not just enough for Access Bank to do it. It's good to collaborate with other banks so that we carry everybody along. Exactly. So that's really great. So kudos to Access Bank.
Okay, so Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State, vexed. He says that the federal government is playing ostrich in the awarding of the pipeline surveillance contract to Governor Tumpolo. His first name is Governor. And he says that the same federal government that awarded the contract to secure and survey pipelines to Tumpolo, one individual, is against the establishment of security outfits by some states. And that, for me, is logic. If you think one state should not have their own security outfits, why would one individual be able to secure pipelines? It's just, it's clashing. But Governor Okowa of Delta State disagrees with him. He said it's standard practice worldwide. There's nothing new there. He's supporting it. Whereas some groups are already, there are so many grievance groups. I saw a report done by another station where, some old militant groups are saying, this is our right, it's also our right, somebody should pay us. So now pipelines that go through Akwa Ibom State has one group youth.
No,
that group saying Tompolo dares not come within their territory to secure pipeline. So you see, this thing is not really...
Everybody has woken up to the possibility, we too can get amnesty.
Going back to those days where each group wanted something. You know, they've been well fed. You know, the amnesty and all of that.
I was going to take the National Association of Nigerian Students. They faulted the decision to state universities on joining the strike, saying that it's quite unpatriotic of them and that it's wicked. Said that the state universities will immediately detach from their action and resume to work. This is their own perspective concerning the strike. They said that you've made your point, and ASU keeps, according to them, I think it's the spokesperson, the president, Sunday Asefom, said he had lost the support for the Nigerian students, that ASU had lost the support of the Nigerian students, given the unpatriotic disposition displayed by them extending the strike indefinitely. So that's the issue. We heard you. We know the strike is important, but the children have been home almost 200 days. And we're saying that, listen, it's time for you to reconvene and suspend this indefinite strike so that these kids can go back to school. I've been told not to call them kids again. These students can go back to school.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on quickly now to the Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story. We've not taken the enforcement of Okadas. We took that story already. Boko Haram planning to re-establish base in Adamawa's Fintiri. Autumn lied against Buhari on Fulani claims, says presidency. Hoodlums pelt Kokonso with missiles in Kogi. Scarcity cost of aviation fuel may stall NAF operations, says Chief of Air Staff. CSO's kick against Buhari's nominees as INEC Rex. Proposed APC presidential aspirants meeting postponed. An ex-general threatened me and others with CIA, says Wiki. Okay, which story? Taken in Tribune?
Okay, let me take from Adamawa State. So the governor of Adamawa State, Amadou Fintiri, has said that Boko Haram is planning to regroup and form base in base for operations in some of their communities in Adamawa State. He especially mentioned Hong and Meha local government areas of the state. He said this while receiving the new brigade commander. There's been, when one comes in and the other is leaving, and he also says that he says that the government is aware and they're going to do everything to make sure that that does not happen. So they have the intelligence and they're going to do everything to make sure that Boko Haram does not set up base in these communities or anywhere within their states. And they're proud and they're confident in the new brigade commander. He has experience, and from his antecedents, they believe that he will be able to do a good job in Adamawa State.
Okay, so I have the CSOs kicking. So about 70 CSOs, that's civil society organizations operating in Nigeria, have kicked against the nomination for INEC by the president. So the president had nominated, they have grievances against 3 people: Professor Muhammad Lawal Bashir, Dr. Ugochi, Pauline Onyeka, and Dr. Queen Elizabeth Agu. They said these 3 people have partisan background. So Dr. Bashir had openly run for governorship primaries in a state in Sokoto State in 2015, while Dr. Onyeka was a former staff of INEC who was redeployed on the grounds of partisanship while she was with INEC. And Dr. Agu is supposed to be another member of a political party presently. And so because of that partisan bias, they shouldn't be, because they will not be able to carry out their duties in an unbiased manner on the board of INEC as INEC Rex. So they're saying that the Senate Committee on INEC should reject these 3 candidates based on that.
Okay.
So I have hoodlums pelt Kwakwaso with missiles in Kogi. The presidential candidate of the new Nigerian party, NNP, Musa Rabiu Kwakwaso, was on Wednesday pelted with missiles during a visit to Kogi State.
Was missile again?
Good. I was waiting for it. I want to know.
So apparently he had gone to commission the party secretariat and his campaign offices besides Dave Mercy Pharmacy along Kogi Government House Road. And when he arrived in a motorcade with a few supporters, he was shouted down by some hoodlums, and efforts to pacify them didn't go down well. Now, one of his media aides, who identified himself as Musa Yunusa, described the action of his supporters as normal in politics. describing Kogi as home to his principal. That I'm just trying to juxtapose. It's normal and it's home to him, but yet they're shouting him down.
Well, I just wanted to know when they
Please,
said
let me define missile. I just Googled this.
Yes, because what I
In the military terminology, a missile is a guided airborne range weapon capable of self-propelled flight, usually by a jet engine or rocket motor. How in the world is that a missile?
Let us know. Did they
Because
get
this
missiles?
is the kind of words we use in our papers and our media, and just direct and redirect.
Who wrote the article?
I don't know.
When I saw it, I was
the person who wrote the article
confused as
should be
well.
asked, what is that? Do you know what a missile is? Because these are the kind of things you see.
Military weapon.
No, Nigerians, we got the sensationalism. We try to attract people, to draw people to your paper. You just try to use all the words. And I'm thinking, no, only missile in
Because if you read further down, it says it was shouted down.
So, how is that a missile?
They didn't even say he was being thrown.
So I would have thought somebody had a rocket launcher somewhere and was not throwing it in the where he was. I'm thinking,
I'm like, wow, machine guns everywhere.
Hey, God bless
him.
you.
How is he still alive?
We have to wrap up. I was going to take a story.
Verbal missiles.
Sorry?
Verbal.
Oh, verbal missiles.
But they should have categorically
with verbal missiles in
and they even said pelt. You know what it means to pelt? Throw at someone.
Let us go.
Very misleading,
Not doing
actually.
again. Let's go down with the papers.
We're not doing it again.
We're finished. That must go.
See what you call stream.
That is all we're going to take on the papers today. When we come back, it's Thursday. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us on the show is the Chief Operations Officer as well as the Acting Chief Marketing Officer of South African Tourism, Nomasonto Ndiovu. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you so
Good
much.
to have you. Let's tell us about this West Africa Roadshow.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. We are indeed in West Africa. We started in Ghana, and now we are in Nigeria. And this is really part of South Africa calling on the Africans to come to South Africa for holidays. So with COVID now slightly behind us, you know, South Africa is open for business. And we are saying, please come and visit, because we know that the Nigerians love Cape Town, they love South Africa, and we are here on that mission. But more importantly, we've also brought our partners to the market who are also here to show what South Africa has and also negotiate and have deals made with the trade out here in this market. So it's really a business mission. It's a tourism business mission that brings us here in West Africa.
Okay, so apart from just being like a patriotic thing to do for Africans to go to South Africa, what would West African and Nigerian be looking forward to enjoy if they go to South Africa?
There is a lot to enjoy in South Africa. We are blessed with the diversity of tourism experiences in South Africa, and which is stuff for everybody and for every pocket. I've said earlier that from our research so far, we understand that Cape Town is very attractive for the West Africans, but what we are also offering is to say there's quite a lot more than just Cape Town. I mean, we've got 9 provinces with different kinds of experiences that for families, for single travelers, for women, for boys, sports lovers. I mean, so there's quite a lot of stuff that you can do in South Africa. What we also know is that what's been very attractive for this market is our lifestyle events. Earlier on, I was talking about, you know, your musician, Burna Boy. He is coming to South Africa to one of our big events called Delicious, which is a festival of food and culture and entertainment. And he'll be performing there. And we know that, you know, the West Africans definitely will come. Nigerians will definitely come and see him. I'll definitely be there because I also...
Just don't publicity for that event.
The name is even attractive, Delicious.
Yes, Delicious.
Interesting.
Yes.
So what time of the year is the best time to actually visit South Africa?
It's going to sound like a cliche, because I will say to you, you can come to South Africa any time of the year, which is true. There are travelers who love to come to South Africa for winter. I'm a golfer, so I love to go and travel South Africa during winter because it's lovely to play during winter. But whether it is summer or winter or spring, right now, today is spring day in South Africa, people are out. In spring, people are coming out of hibernation. People are coming out of winter. They want to show off their bodies. They want to show off everything that they have. It is the time to actually come out. But it just depends on your needs and how you, as a family, how you travel. But whatever time of the year, there's always something for somebody at that time of the year.
Interesting. So I would like to even know understand the weather, because I'm shocked that this is just spring. Usually we know that spring is around that time for Easter, but now, so tell me about the weather in South Africa. When is winter for you?
Yes, so we've just come out of winter. So our winter will start from June, July, August is actually our very cold months. Like if I say cold, I mean really cold. And if you go down to the Drakensberg Mountains in KZN, if you're lucky, you can even find some snow. It really does get cold. So that is winter. But from September, it's our spring. Spring will go on until sort of December. December, it is full-blown summer. And the summer will be quite long because it will go on until Easter. So that is your summer months. And that is when the world tries to come to South Africa, because we know Europe and America is cold at that time. So, yeah.
Okay, so based on what you said to Moji earlier, what would you say anyone traveling to South Africa should carry with them? What would they need the most?
It depends again. But I would say if you are traveling in summer, you must make sure that you bring clothes that are going to show off what you have. So whether, whether it is your thighs or your legs or, but just to enjoy the sun. But also you need the sunscreen, because the sun can be quite harsh. So you need to protect yourself as well. The good thing about South Africa is that even if you forget everything, we've got everything for you to go and buy. So shopping is a big thing. I know a lot of West Africans who say to me, if you're preparing the itinerary, make sure that shopping is there. They want to go to Sandton. They want to go to the Mall of Africa. They want to really hit the shops. So you can forget everything. You can leave the suitcase behind, and then you can buy everything.
Let's talk about getting the visa, because it's always a difficult thing. One of my mentors was complaining that her passport has been in the South African embassy for like 2 months. She's like, just bring back my passport. I'm not going again. The process is so long. It's like, if you really want us to come, why you make it so tedious to get a visa?
It's very unfortunate that we've hit these challenges, and we appreciate the challenges that people have actually had. But the good news is that as I come into the market, and we've been engaging and lobbying with our government to say, we are on a huge tourism drive, not only for Nigeria, but, all markets. And, from time to time, we get the visa challenges from different countries. But for this market, at this particular moment, they have actually put in more interventions to actually help exactly that problem. So first and foremost, as late as last 2 weeks, they've added more people to this market in terms of resources to actually help with the backlog, because we understand that there's a huge backlog that we have at the moment. So as I talk to you now, there's more people that have been brought from South Africa that are here. That is as I'm talking to you. But over and above that, we've been speaking about the e-visas for quite a while. But as I talk to you, it's now live, it's now working, and it's making it easier for Nigerians to actually apply online wherever they are, not necessarily traveling to Abuja or to Lagos. Fantastic. So that is really going to help. So all our negotiations and discussions have yielded some results, and we're very positive that that is really going to help.
Fantastic. I think that's all we can take. Okay. We have one more. Go ahead.
Yes. Where can people find South African Tourism West Africa online? Social media?
Social media, yes. So there's quite a lot of our handles out there. but the website is southafrica.net. That is where all the information is. And within that, they'll be able to reach us on Instagram, on Facebook, and Twitter as well.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you at Delicious.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Already. When is Delicious?
I was going to say you were particularly
It's in
about
September.
Mariah.
It's now. It's in September.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It's here. I was going to say it's almost here, but September is here.
September, so end of this month. I'll see you in South
I have
Africa.
time.
See you in
Okay.
Johannesburg.
Fantastic.
See you
That's
in
all. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to other hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So Thursdays, we like to discuss family-related issues, and there was a story that caught our attention. And the story that's somewhat familiar because many people in families have just one brother or cousin, auntie that has been through this. So it was a story about a young family. A man found that his son, who he had sent to school to study medicine for about 7 years, never actually went to school. Was sending him money, pocket money, paying his school fees. The boy was collecting the money, squandered it on different things. 7 years after, he found out that he's not a doctor, he didn't graduate. Another person said, oh, he has a family member that actually got a stroke because of this kind of news where you send your child to university, you pay them every monthly allowance, and you send them school fees just to find out that he got resuscitated after year 1. Now, it's a bit familiar because, as I said, many people have family members who have been through this or have siblings that did this or cousins, and you know the hardship and the pain the family went through when they found out. The conversation today is about parenting. Not even just parenting, taking responsibility because these are university students, these are adults, these are grown-ups. So we're not talking just to parents because when they said, your says that when your fish is already dried, you can't really do much. The food is already dried. But we're talking to young adults. We're talking to people in this phase where you don't want to go to school, but your parents are forcing you to. And what's the best approach? Should you just come out and tell your parents, I don't want to do this? Or should you just not hurt them and hope that at some point they'll figure it out and they'll get over it? What's the best approach where you know you're in school and you're not just getting the school thing? That's our conversation. But we'll still talk about parenting because what do you do not to get to that phase? What do you do to get to that point where you're having to deal with this issue? Those are conversations we'd like to have. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 09139076948. You can also send your tweets to TVC Connect, #YourViewTVC, so we can read your tweets. So which angle are you interested in? Parenting, or we want to talk to the young adults who are going through this right now? Let me start with you, Nima.
There's only so much you can say to the young adults in our society where young people are not listened to. So if your parents say go to school, you go to school, whether you're in the mood or not. And if you're not, because of the way our school systems are run here, you can't actually say, I'm not academically inclined, I'm more creative. You can't decide you want to do fine arts. You want to be drawing. You can't just go and buy a canvas and put up in your parlor and be drawing your parents' house. At least
why can't you? That has changed. That has changed. You're talking about your own generation.
That's why the talk will be more on parents.
You're talking your generation.
I'm
talking about the new. I'm talking
What
about
generation
today.
is that? You think you're going 1800s?
It was the way she paused. She said, my generation.
I said, which generation? It's the same thing.
It's the same
It's not too far from each other. And it happens still. Because even if your parents are indulgent of that difference, the cousins, the aunties will be like, what is happening in this home? When he has to go, he or she has to go to school. We go to school. In my family, for example, our family produced the first female professor. So they push you, they keep pushing you. Maybe that's not your calling. But you cannot be telling your parents what your calling is in this, our Nigerian society. It's strange. If it happens in any home, I would find it strange. I've never seen it happen. I would find it strange. So a child must go to school. They might not be saying do doctor, do lawyer anymore, but you will go to school. And there was an incident that happened within my family where one of us said he was being pushed to courtism and just packed his bags and came home. I remember that fight. No, he wasn't. I was the only one saying he's at risk in school because I had experienced cultist clashing last back in the days. Like, he's at risk. If he cannot be safe there, can we put him in a private university? Can we do this? Can we afford this? Nobody saw an alternative. He wants to jump school. He won't drop out. It was a tough argument. And the guy was saying, they will kill me or they'll ask me to kill somebody. They didn't buy, they both saw it as a bogus story. So it takes a while for a young person to convince an adult that this is why I need to do something. Nobody thinks you even know what you want in life. So they need to help you decide.
Okay, let me come to you.
That's a valid point. I believe that there are some children that are unable to express their parents because they already know what the answer will be. But for me, for this particular story, I just think it's just an irresponsible person. That's it. Because I have been in school with two people. One was supposed to be reading engineering. He had started and he knew that there was no way he was going to continue engineering. He found his way, he changed to economics, and he did very well. So it's not just to say, oh, I don't want to go to school, and so because of that, I'll collect the money for tuition, for rent, for everything, and then squander it and party around and say it's because my parents would not listen to me. For me, you're just irresponsible. If it was you changed your course or you put the money together and you started a business, that will make sense to me. So that, for me, will be a question of, I have my own dreams and my own aspirations. I would not be able to tell my parents about it. We have heard of many musicians today or actors who would say, my parents thought I was studying medicine, but actually doing theater arts, you know. Yes, the parents would be disappointed, but not so disappointed like in this case, where you take the money, you would every year collect money for tuition, you collect money for rent, for every sort of things, for the final, what do they call them, dissertations and all. For me, that is just an irresponsible child.
In a country where dropouts get successful, you know, dropouts, you don't have much education, but you come out, you hustle somehow, and you get this money, those kind of things. So parents will say, what is your issue? At the end of the day, this education is towards success. What exactly is your problem?
I don't know about dropouts, just finding it easy. Dropouts that maybe have influential parents, wealthy parents, but dropouts of regular Nigerians, they suffer it hard. And they know. And that's why many Nigerian youngsters, you know, would insist on that education. When you even tell youngsters that, okay, find something else to do, they'll insist on that education because they have been taught that education is your way out of this suffering. So many young people would go there. Hustling is different. You add your hustling to your education and you do it. But for many people that can just drop out and misbehave and still get good jobs and still be are doing very well, it's because probably they have a strong support system behind. And that is also parenting, where are you punishing or are you encouraging an irresponsible child? Because he would never have to face the consequences of his bad actions because he knows his parents will sort him out, sort her out.
Let me come to you, Mojibade. What are your thoughts on this? So do you think, because there are lots of youngsters in this situation right now, because they see a lot of musical artists, actors, who maybe drop out of school, hit a record deal, travel the world, have mansions, have billions in their accounts. They're thinking, what is this stress now? Yes, Nima is right. Nobody's saying lawyer, doctor anymore. No, yes, book na scam. Nobody's saying lawyer, doctor anymore today. But they're saying, listen, must I be on the floor? Education is on the four walls of a university. It's out there, outside the hustle out there. That's the conversation out there. And people are getting successful. Do you think it's such a bad thing at this time to say, this school is not working for me, let me just get out?
You know, I would support what she said. I think he's irresponsible and he's also wicked because it's a private university. So the fees, he must be giving them bills that are over the top. And you're spending and just lavishing the money. How? Why? You know, I've heard of stories where you say, you know what, my parents forced me to study engineering. And you will study it and go and give them, say, Daddy, Mommy, I'm done. Take. And you go and do what you want to do. You now chose a 7-year course, medicine. So let me collect money for 7 years and waste this money. Apparently, from the story here also, his mom was sending provisions, food every month, just say from Kaduna, just dispatching to him. Yes, he was just enjoying this and saying, you know what, just keep sending. Maybe he will say, well, I have an extra year. The 8th year, he will collect extra money. That's wickedness in this time and age. Even if you don't want to do it, have you tried to have a conversation with them to say, you know what, this is not working for me? And even if you want to scam them, which is not right. 7 whole years. Like, how are you sleeping and waking up every day knowing that your father is working so hard to pay a private school? Medicine is not cheap. Private school is not cheap. Even if it was cheap, that's still wickedness and irresponsibility.
So, you see, a lot of parents are faced with these issues today because you are in the phase of getting to secondary school. There's a phase of, okay, now you finish secondary school. Which university, which course? But you're in a world where kids are telling you, Mommy, honestly, I want to sing. I'm an artist. I want to rap. You know, I'm a talent. You know, that's the new word now. I have talent. I have passion. You know, that's the word.
Me.
The 3 years, a passion. You know, Mommy, I want to do university. So you have that. And the parents are thinking, how do I encourage my child to still go to school? How can I tell them that school is not a scam, education is not a scam? You can still follow your passion, but still get educated. Is it something that is realistic at this time? Because many people are still insisting that you don't need it.
Those conversations. Okay, do you want to go? Okay, so these conversations actually happen, and I think that our counterparts abroad have sort of figured a way out. They have the gap year, where they give a child like a year minimum, you know. Go discover yourself, get a job, travel the world, do whatever. Whatever is inside of you, let it out. And then there are some people that sit with their parents and they come to an agreement, okay, do this for me. Do the 4-year course, and then I would support you for your dreams or whatever in 2 years. Or go ahead, try and do this. And I've even heard Nigerian artists who have done that say, my parents gave me 2 years, or we have had people who've interviewed, like, give me 2 years, 3 years, and say, okay, if you don't do this within 3 years, then you go back to school. Parents have that. So that conversation, as long as it's open and honest, that makes sense. This particular case we're talking about, that's just an irresponsible person. So I feel that there's also that thing that maybe we have as Nigerians where we want our child to finish on time. Oh, my child is just 13 in university, you know? And so we put that pressure of the child to finish within a certain limit so we can use that child to brag. We need to remember it's about that child's growth, development, and mental health. And it would be nice to work hand in hand with the child to see what's best for them.
So this is what I have to say on this. I agree with you, both of you, but I answered the question of how a typical African home runs, where there's a daddy head of the house, there's a mommy neck of the house, where you have to, Mommy, talk to daddy for me. And Mommy is like, no, I cannot put mouth. And then there's you, who, if they ever hear you. But there's also the issue of parenting where, just as you said, do for me, or some parents say, no, this is what I want you to do all your life. And when as a child, you don't study your children, know their weaknesses and strengths. Sometimes, when I was growing up, I saw friends who would start something, then leave it. IJMB was raining then. It was called pre-UTME, pre-JAM, or post-JAM. There was a course that they did for those who didn't get admission list.
Remedials?
Remedials. Yes. And some people would just start it. In between, they would just leave. Some people, I did diploma in law for immediately I left secondary school, and a lot of people did not finish. Some people will start, leave. You know, they wanted to be called things. My parents would say to you, when you start something on your path to life, you have to finish it before you decide. So that thing just gives you this resilience to pull through things. I want to believe that if a child was having hardship learning, or he couldn't make JAM, if he didn't have the image to keep, the parents will find out if they were parenting. They would know. But if the parents' own is to shout, 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 and the child gets wicked because of your shout, 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 and they would not talk to you. Because we like as parents to... This certainly is a wicked child. But how did he arrive at that point where I really don't care, if like, let them cry, they'll be all right?
But you know, there's a statistic I just read here that says about 40% of, so the overall college enrollment for 18 to 24-year-olds in the U.S. about 40%. So of the students that graduate from secondary school, only about 40% make it to college. So because they have options, you leave secondary school, you make this big celebration, and then you get a job maybe as a security guard somewhere, and you're fine, you're content because with that, you can actually get a house, you can buy a car, you know, you can still have a normal life. So you have options. There are some people that are just not academically inclined. Do we have options for people like that in our society?
But you never know if you never tried. So this case is the case of a child who, I will not write the JAM. I will tell them I wrote it. I will take the money. I bought my own jam form, the one that I used to.
We've established it that this child was irresponsible. That's one side. But I'm talking about other children in this position. What options do we have for them that don't want to go to school? I don't want to lie to my parents. I want to do 7 years. I don't want to lie, but I don't want to go.
Several options. So
Many now.
I know families where they decide. They say, okay, based on this child, the inclination of this child, this is where he will be. I have a nephew who makes clothes, badass clothes. Sorry.
Really?
As in, really, really bespoke.
Right.
You know, so he's a he. Within the family, I thought the parents were upside down when they decided he should just pursue what he wanted. But I can only imagine how long it took them to arrive there. Yeah. Because in that same family, we have an A-list, top of the class, immediate elder brother. In the same family. So sometimes these are tough decisions, but you have to follow what will be easy for your child so you don't have a child doing
You're going to say something.
I think we must also come to a place where, one, we must negotiate with these children. Yeah. And when I say it's not bad parenting when you listen to your kids, to your children, because we shouldn't call them kids. Listen to them. Sometimes they know what you don't know. They know what they desire. So listen to them. Don't force things on them. So if a child says, for example, education is important, we can't even rule that out. But you must know how to negotiate, like what Miriam was saying, that, go to school, then 2 years you do this. It's the approach, I think, is very important, and the negotiation skills that you have and you're able to deploy to help to just get closer to your children. So it's one, you must also have built a very good relationship with them so that they're able to confide in you and able to be vulnerable with you to say, you know what? I mean, when I said I wanted to be an actress to my mother when I was leaving secondary school, I can still see those eyes. She daggered me. She was like, you must be a joker. So, but I mean, for me, it's always been a passion. I've loved talking forever and ever. So comparing and all those things I do now are things that I've always wanted to do. But my mom said, you have to go to school. But I said, you're going to allow me to do this when I'm done. And we said, okay, yeah, you know what, find a way around it. It was not the easiest conversation, but we had it. We still had it. So negotiation, just parenting from, just following their journey, just also observing them.
Sometimes, Mojibade, these people, young people they have no clue where they're going. A lot of children, a lot of young adults are clueless. They just know that, here's like this school thing, I'm not doing well at school, but they know, because many of us didn't find our purpose before we entered university. True. We found our purpose afterwards. True. So they don't really know. And parents' job is to guide. Yeah. And as you're guiding, even they feel like this mom says guidance, it's just not. So sometimes you want to guide your child right. But because of their youthful exuberance, they just insist, the education is not my thing. And they insist, but it's because they are young and foolish. That's why they are insisting on this. So how do you guide a child like that?
Interestingly, sorry, I was just talking to my aunt yesterday, and she was telling me we're talking about how she made a decision for her child to study the school her child was going to study in England, right? And we're analyzing different options. So she said this school, they are very academic. And the girl is very sociable. She likes to bake. She likes to, she dances. In front of the mirror, she's always dancing. She's like 11, but she's always dancing, but she's also very smart. So she chose a school that will enable the child academically and also enable the other extracurricular activities. So now she's the only Nigerian in her class in England. They've done a play, but she's also killing her grades. So she's able to balance, because her mom knows who this person is. So also, I think also just studying the child, so you can help to advise, because, I mean, at 11, she can't choose her school. But you can say that, okay, you know what, this would help you do this. So you're able to mix academics alongside other extracurricular activities.
That also reminds me, for my son as well, we had 2 schools that we're looking at, and one of the schools that we're looking at, my son loves football. I mean, he's good with his grades, and as I've said here, he passed all his exams, even got a scholarship, like 2 schools, and then he loves his football. And one of the schools that we're looking at, when we went to the school, they don't have a football pitch. I mean, people will tell you it's a good school, it's a great school and everything. Yes, but it doesn't have a football pitch. And I know that it will not make my son happy. Meanwhile, the second school, the one that we finally went with, once you pass through reception, the first thing you see is the very big football pitch, And he went around and so I knew that when we were doing like the interviews for schools and they were asking what we wanted, I knew that it was important that whatever he does, his grades plus sports is very important for him. So if you're not part of, your child growing up and you would not know these things.
Just getting to know that.
Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation and open our phone lines to hear from you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So joining us to add some spice to this conversation is an award-winning Nigerian actor, singer, mother, voiceover artist, TV presenter. He won the African Actor of the Year award for his role in Married but Living Single in 2012 during the African Film Awards. Welcome with us, Joseph Benjamin Isabel. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Joseph, before you came on, we're talking about this issue because parents are being faced with youngsters who go to university and pretend that they're in school. This particular story, this man was in school for medicine 7 years. The father was paying school fees, mother sending provisions and everything, just to find out that he didn't go to school. And we're bringing this conversation to today because a lot of youngsters are in that space where they don't feel university is for them. They just feel like, oh, I don't want to, you know, because all you guys are artists, the stars, you're making money, you're building houses, and some of you don't have degrees. And they're thinking, must I go to university? This school is scam. And we're looking at it in the two ends. Parenting, how do you get your child to the point where they tell you this openly in the beginning and you accept it? And you as an adult, how do you get to the point where you're able to tell your parents with confidence and know that I don't want to do it school, but these are my plans? How do you articulate it to your parents so where there's a win-win for everybody?
Well, for me, I would say the key thing here is communication. Communication. Because it actually balances the scale. Because if you are able to have a relationship where you can freely talk to your parents, right, then you can be open to them. But the problem we have in situations like this is where you have not created an atmosphere or an environment where your children have access to you beyond the child-father ideology. Do you understand that? Oh, no, I'm your parent, you are my child, this is how it is, I provide for you, you do what I say. But there is something in between there that is called a relationship where they can freely talk to you. Okay? But we don't have that. We, growing up, we never had situations or privileges like that. You do what you're told and go ahead and do it. No questions asked. At all.
But I want to tell you that old-fashioned way, sometimes because it has kept some of us things, because you see, even abroad, we see when people say, oh, do your passion, you know, just follow your mind, do your mind. You realize that you follow their mind, thinking, oh, no. So you as an African father, like, I don't want to go through that. I'm going to tell you, you're going to go to school of medicine, and that's it.
That's the thing. The old-fashioned way helped us. It made us stay grounded. But times have changed.
Right. Right.
Rather than you allow them go out there to seek a shoulder or an ear who would listen to them, the wrong people, who would literally change their ideologies, why don't you create an environment where they can freely come and speak to you? Listen to them. Listen, that's the operative word there. Listen to them. Before you then say, okay, look, I have heard you. But why don't you look at it from this point of view? I will not lead you astray.
That's where the negotiation comes.
It comes in there, and then tell them, okay, so do you know what? Let's meet halfway. What are you passionate about? It's not what I want you to do now. Let's know. But let's know, what are you passionate about?
Oh, go, let me calm you down.
No, I want to
okay, well, let me let you go.
So there's also the issue of bad parenting. Anyway, so you know a trans child, it would have started from maybe 2. They start, they show their independence at 2. They want to wear the colors they like. You know that kind of independence. You know. When they grow into transit, you would know as a parent. So how do you have a child 7 years in school and you didn't find out? You never visited the school.
That's another angle.
Yes. Are you present? There are 2 things here. You also have to be present. It's beyond providing for them and say, okay, look, I'm doing all of that. You understand? There are 2 things. You're either a providing parent or a present parent. And then, to balance the scale, be both a providing parent and a present parent. So that way, you are able to see things from both sides of the divide.
Right.
Because if you're just a providing parent, you would never have a relationship with your children.
Yeah, let me take this call from Rotimi. Rotimi, are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good morning to your guests at the studio.
Good morning.
This is an important topic this morning. I have a first-hand experience. Even while I was in law school, I still meet some students in law school who are writing exam right now, and they still have these challenges that my father said I should be a lawyer, That's why I'm here. I think most of the issue is parent hostility to their words. I have my uncle in Lagos, his son was in the University of Lagos. The boy actually intended to study economics or social science subjects, but the dad wanted him to study petroleum engineering. He was in the University of Lagos for 5 years. In short, he was rusticated in his final year in 2017. When he came meeting me in my office at Ijora, he explained what happened. The dad was already reported to me. But what I discovered between him and his dad was that there was no communication. You know, these young adults, when they come out of secondary school, they don't have enough experience to decide on their own. Their dad will go as far as enrolling them for a private GCE class. They will even pay for special centers for them to be able to get the requirement for the course they want them to study in the university. And in that, this boy does not have the skill to negotiate his future with his dad or mom. So if he reluctantly accept the and got admission, he will be in school pretending to fulfill his father's wishes. I know many of this. It just happens. This is the bane of our education because I will suggest, please, I will suggest that the NUC will introduce something in the university system whereby the university faculty have a counseling unit to discuss with some of
Right. Thank you, Mr. Rotimi. So, yeah, so that's another layer. But you see, I want to come back. I'll come back to you, Mara, because there is this part of talk to your kids, be good with you, be friends with them, communicate. I get that. But as a parent, sometimes you see your child runs very well, for example, in secondary school. She wins, she gets first place, right? Then she wants to go to university. She's like, I want to run. I just want to run. Your mind, you're like, well, yes, you'll see an Amuson. Say, okay, I want to be like an Amuson. Amuson is great. She's 1 in 1 trillion or 1 in 1,000. There's a possibility that you might not get to Amuson's, you might not get to that point. So I need you to go to school, pick something. And the child's like, no, I just want to run. And they pay your school fees. And all you're doing, you're going to stadium every weekend, going to go and run and practice and train. Yes, you might do well. You might not become an Amuson. You might win some championships here and there. But if you now look back at your life, I wish I had gone to school. So how does a parent help a child? That's whereby he's gung-ho. It is running I want to do. It is singing. It is acting. I know nothing else.
Mariah, see, there's this part of parenting that I've just come to realize, and that's the part that's going to be very tough for a lot of us. They will get to a point as a parent, you have to just say,
hands off.
I've done my best. I've guided you enough. And this is where you go ahead, and it's going to be hard. There's some children that seem to know exactly what they think they know or should know. You know, they would tell you, even from when they're very young, people would say, oh, this is such a willful child, or is a stubborn child. They just insist on making their own mistakes. And whether we like it or not, people would learn only from their mistakes. Every time we try to pad it, we try to cover it, we try to hide it, we just push the inevitable further ahead. So the mistakes that child would have made at 10, if you cover up, he'll make it at 20, he'll make it at 30. So as a parent, yes, these are our children, we birth them, we love them with all of our hearts, but there will come a point you would allow them make some of their mistakes. Some things are also, because we're so controlling, I want you to be done with this by 30. I want you to have this by 35. And so if this person is insisting on running, when will she now settle down to get married? 30 would have passed. All my friends will be doing Ashebi. And when will we, you know, you have to get to that point where you take yourself out and realize this is this child's life. But my own is for many parents of young children, you see those stubborn ones, let them start making their mistakes now. And then let them start understanding that you're also a voice of reason and voice of wisdom. So they now connect it with, okay, you know, the last time I did this, I insisted. When she advised me or when they advised me, I went against it, and this is what happened. So the next one, that child is going to do like, and you say this, remember, okay, this is my voice of reason.
Let me quickly add to that, based on experience, too.
Let me pause you for a second. I have a call. Opayemi is still holding. Good morning, Opayemi. Hello, Opayemi.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I like the issue you are talking about. Well, I'm one of them, Sha. When I first came to Ilorin, are you hearing me?
It's a bit low. I'd like it a bit louder, but go ahead.
All right. Okay, when I first came to Illinois, when I first came to Illinois, I did not get admission, but what is that? My dad wanted to go to poly. That's all these polytechnic. So I just did that. I enrolled for Kwara State Polytechnic.
Okay.
And after I enrolled, after I did my ND, I moved to University of Illinois.
Okay.
By the grace of God, I'm now in my final year. When I got home back, I told my dad, Dad, this is what I have done. He was so happy that he was like, I don't go to poly, but you find a way to go to poly. Now, in my family, I'm the only one that have a ND certificate, and also very soon I'll have a PhD certificate.
Oh.
So what the guy did is totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Thank you very much. That's what I said earlier. This one was irresponsible. Yes.
So I was saying that, you know, some tough situations when kids are growing up, they have to do some things that, you know, are tough, and we are caring parents to sort of protect them. So the child does not even know how to deal with tough situations. So this is a child who never had to suffer for anything. So even when the parents were going to suffer the consequence of what he was doing, he would not see it. All he knows is soft life. He must enjoy his life. You know, I must just be relaxed and enjoy. Yesterday, I came home and my son was saying to me, Mommy, my bicycle was bad. I took it to, there's a repairer, we call him Uncle Solo. I took it to Uncle Solo, I was like, outside the estate.
He took it himself?
He took it himself.
That tiny boy.
So my first, because I'd warned him, he's too young. Outside the estate is a bit dangerous. I take it there usually, and he knows the place. He goes with me in the car sometimes. You went by yourself. I went there, I know the place. You went. That was all I was worried about. I was going to really give him the, I must not say, why he's watching, you know, but when I got home and I thought about it, he knows Uncle Solo fixes the bicycle all the time. We always take it for him. He took it, he brought it back. Why am I still worried? You know, he fixed his problem. He went on riding his bicycle. I just, well, let me just leave it. You know, sometimes allow these children some toughness.
Right.
Some hardship.
Come to you, Mojibade. What are your thoughts on this issue? Do you think that allowing this toughness would help youngsters?
I think it just all still comes down to parenting, right? So I was just considering now, imagine Faust telling his dad, Faust the bad guy, saying, you know what, I know I want to be, but I don't want to study law. But he still went to school regardless, got a law degree. He's a lawyer. And then that even gives him an exam because we're like, oh, wow, he's a lawyer and he's doing this. So I think we should, but I think it's about the balance. When I attended Covenant University, right, and we used to do this biography series where we learn about people, right, people's journeys. So also show them journeys of people who have your trajectory. They wanted to be this, but they still went to school. Like, so it's just that balance. Balancing that school is important, education is important, but you will still do what you want to do. You want to be a fashion designer, fabulous, you will do it. You want to be a dancer, you will see Kathy, well, she has a degree. You know, just all these things, allow them to I think it's just balancing it.
A guy, these are things guys usually do. I mean, I'm not trying to be sexist here, but these are kind of things boys do that you don't want to go to school. We are too scared to say we don't want to go to school.
The way we were raised.
We were raised. We were just
boys are allowed to.
But boys just say, I beg, I don't do. How did you stay in school? Were you one of those spoiled kids, or did you just one of those spoiled kids?
No. So this is the thing here. I look at it from this angle as well. We speak about what the children are doing, and of course, as parents, a lot of times we fall into that trap of playing the comparison card. You understand? Like, this is, look at your sibling is this, look at this, that, look at this person's child is this and that. And so that way we unconsciously project a certain kind of ideology into that child's mind and say this is the standard by which you should live. You understand? Not even trying to figure out what that child is about first. Understand your children's temperaments. Understand who they are individually, not collectively. They're all your children, but understand their strengths individually, okay? And also understand that overall, in everything we've said, your children are a clear reflection of who you are.
The hardest to swallow.
They're a clear reflection of who you are. Look at her son now that went to fix his bicycle. If he hadn't seen mommy doing it a couple of times, he would not have had the initiative to go there.
You know what I call her? Miss Fix-It.
There you go. She understands. Her son is a reflection of who she is, the standards she lives by. So These things that we see, they don't just wake up and do these things.
So this man that dropped this 7 years, there's something that you have done as a parent.
So he stems from somewhere.
But I don't think it's generic.
No.
Some children are just wayward.
No, they are, but there's always a root cause for everything. Moji, there's always a root cause for everything, every decision we take. Guess what? You as an individual, your body cannot effectively position itself where your mind has not first gone to. The mind does the journey first off.
Right. Absolutely.
Where you are right now is a product of thoughts and decisions that you've already taken.
Let me pause you for a second. Okay. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still on this matter. We're going to wrap up on this because there's another topic I would like us to touch on before we leave. But I like your final words. Let me just come to Mojibade on your final words on this. If this young man was your brother, what would you say to him?
If he was my brother, after giving him 2 hard knocks,
only 2,
I would send him for deliverance. Yes. No, but I think that it's just like we said, just an irresponsible behavior. And again, I was just thinking back whilst we were on the break that you have to be present in you cannot not go to your child's school for 7 years. I mean, that also shows nonchalancy on the parents' part because 7 years sending money, even if you put my money in the bank, I'm going to check my account. Please open my account. Tell her, let me see what's happening there. Like, you must be involved. So you literally just wasted money for 7 years. So you can't really blame the child because at some point, if the parent found out, no results, no nothing, you will call me to order and say, okay, where did we go wrong? What's wrong? Why are you not in school? If after 2 years, for example, you found if you were involved. So I think parents need to be more involved and children need to just be more responsible.
One of my pastors, I think he's probably watching past. Is it no? One of my pastor. One of. Well, no, it was your husband. Okay. Yeah, it was your husband. Okay. At his birthday party, his friends were saying that he's always coming to the medical center in Unilag. I mean, people even thought he was a medical student because he was in school, but there's a way you can be in school. I mean, he had a different course.
The reason why he was there is not a...
No, I'm just saying, the reason I'm trying to say is that youngsters have a way of going around this. Yeah. I know my pops is coming tomorrow. I'm hanging out with my friends in medical school. We're in class, I'm dealing with you, I'm reading books. You can send it away.
Sometimes throw in surprises. I remember one time I slept in the bathroom when I was in uni, and I just called my mom we didn't even have phones. I called her to tell her that, I fell in the bathroom, but I'm okay. The next day, my mom was in school. She didn't even, no phone to call me. She just showed up. I was having a lecture when she came. She went to my hostel. They announced my name, checked she's in class now. She came to college center to find me. Stay there, waiting for, what class are you? Okay, I'm looking for my daughter. Like, not unannounced. She's involved. Like, so you have to be involved. Like, show up. You don't have to say I'm coming tomorrow. Just random visit. It might not even be to just because your money. If you're plucking money from a tree, even take some effort to pluck the money from a tree.
Let me take this call, Matthew, and I'll come to you, Mariam. Okay. Matthew, are you there? Yeah. Good morning, Matthew. Are you there?
Good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
I just want us to provide solutions rather than all this analysis, which is good anyway. Okay. The first point of my first idea is there are 3 people involved in going to school: the parents, the students, and the school. So at secondary school, this also happens. But the way the parents know is because results are sent to the parents. So when you are filling forms for higher institution, you have guardian, you have next of kin, you have parents, you have all sorts of information. Why not the school? They have a duty of care to sending the results at the end of the year to any of those contacts. And that could also help the parents to quickly know after 1 or 2 years. I have a nephew who wasted 3 years and also has added another 2 years. And now 5 years is just wasting away. So that's just mine. The school also have a duty of care to ensure that they send results, whether you're a mature student or whatever, they should send results to whatever contract that is on the application form for the student.
I get that, Matthew, but sometimes when you're 18, you're an adult, you expect your child to just send you the results. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I have this tweet said, Chigozie Magdam says, one of our major problems in this present era is due to fear. Parents tend to live the life of their children for them. When it becomes extreme, these kids find it hard to think and solve issues when they grow. So we know this raging phenomenon right now where the parents would pay for special centers, the child does not pass the exams, but find somebody that they know in the school that they can pay off. He's in the university now, his grades are not doing well, but he finds somebody to pay so that he looks like he has better grades. He goes for job interviews, he does not make it, but you have someone you can pay, some influence you can pull, and then your child is there. What do you expect? When that child finally gets to where you expect, what do you expect? He would just make all the mistakes and just call you to come and clear the mistakes. So when you think that you're being smart now, that you're circumventing the law and you're getting away with it, it will bite you somehow. So be careful.
Let me take this call from Hassan. Good morning, Hassan.
Good morning, Murayo, and good morning to your new guests and members of the IQ. This is a highly emotional topic. Very, very highly emotional, because my sympathy goes to the parents, more especially mothers. Mothers are going through a lot. And one thing is very clear here. We are all discussing this issue. We leave God outside of it. There's a need for parents to pray seriously for their children. It's not about having money to play around with, sending your children to school. You can force a horse to the river. You cannot force it to drink water. You see, this issue of education you are seeing, education is the best option. We don't have any option. It's like people telling you that examination is not a true test of knowledge. Those people saying that should give us another solution.
Oh, we lost that call. So we need to wrap up on this. Yes, Nima.
So I think the reaction of the dad sending him out is still personalizing the issue. Because this is a child, obviously, you feel that parenting. So if you want to punish him, but don't send him out. I had an experience like that, stories I heard from my mother's family, where one of her cousins did the same thing in school. I think he dropped out of school after 4 years. The father found out, was in a school up north. And then he came to Lagos doing, smoking and all of that. That just called the NDLEA, picked him up. He faced the term. And when he came back, he knew the value of education. Every kobo spent, he valued it. He's better off. He's a lawyer now. So sometimes you need to, if you need to punish a child, or you reprimand the child, do the needful.
Right.
Be a tough parent if you need to.
Let me come to Joseph, because I'd like you to wrap up with us on this issue. And I want you to talk to the parents right now. Not talk to them as pre. Talk to them as post. It's a post conversation. So they have an adult who just left 7 years, everything down the drain. As Nima said, this person's reaction was send you out. What would your reaction? What would you advise should be your reaction in that situation? Your child just dropped out. 7 years you wasted in university. What would you advise a parent to do?
The first thing I would do is have a conversation with that child. That is what I would do. I would implement that. Have a conversation, because that is a human being, not an animal. So there definitely is a way to get across to this child and say, okay, this has happened. I am upset. I am livid. This is hard-earned money wasted. What was going on in your mind? What was going on through your head? Let me understand, first of all. So after having that conversation, a civil conversation, and I see that it's not making headway, then I would resort to, okay, let me become hard. Now let me start implementing certain things that will make this child know that, look, you have crossed the line.
Or just hands off.
Hands off, yes. Sometimes you do. So let them learn, because like it's known, an eagle at some point would take its little one out of the nest and allow them fly. You have to learn how to fly, because if you don't try to fly, you will fall and die.
I think we can wrap up with that. Thank you so much.
We can wrap up. Sorry, just before you wrap up, I think, again, we should also, we're not speaking about the mental, that's a different topic.
That's why I wanted
the mental state of the father. Sending him out, yes, it's not the solution. However, the immediate reaction is 7. Do you know how he got the money? Like, he must have worked tirelessly to say, private school, I will give you the best, and then you do that to your father. Conversation will come later, but, you know, we can go on and on and on. It's just a long conversation. But again, children be responsible, parents
so
be
I like to wrap up with what Mariam said. At some point, you have to face the reality. Listen, these are adults. Now, in secondary school, you can ask the parents, you can ask the teachers, send me the results directly, you know, those things. But when a child is 18, 19, you trust that I have already raised you. If you chose that this 7 years, I'm angry, I'm upset, but this is your choice, know that I am not here as your backbone. You can't come to me. I'm retired now. The money I earn is for me and my wife to just live a normal life. So you choose your life. And you can say hello to me once in a while. It's okay. But I have done my best for you. And it's a hard decision, but something you have to just...
Mariah, before you just wrap up, still note 2 things. Based on research, it's been shown that a child's brain doesn't develop until they get to about 28. So that child, 18, 19, that you say, look, you're an adult, nothing, they are still under you. Regardless. And if you then chase that child out of the house, guess what? That child is running with your name. Even though they're not in the house, they're still your responsibility. Okay? It's still a thorn in your flesh. So you have to bring them back in.
Maybe like braided legs.
I like that.
Just fall into a trance.
All right, let me go into Mr. Joseph Benjamin now because... I think we're good with that topic because of the lessons. But let me come to you. Let's find out what you're doing because you can't bring a whole actor like this on and not find out
a whole Nigerian
award-winning, actor like you. And not what's going on in your career? What's happening? Tell us. We haven't seen you in a minute.
I know. I've been out of this space for almost 6 years. 6 years now. I'm currently, yes, of course, in the country filming. Mo Abudu brought me back to. Film on her short film project, and it's her directorial debut. Yes. Okay, and of course the project speaks to mental health challenges, which is something that is literally an epidemic in our society today, but often not talked about for fear of stigma. Right? And so that's why I'm here, and it's been an amazing project, short film, and she put her all. It was great working with my co-star, Pearl Tusi, who is, of course, this is her first time working in...
That's a South African,
Yes,
right?
South African. Her first time working on a Nigerian project, okay? And also doing my next project is with another filmmaker called Neville Osai, and the story stems around a preacher who got married to a prostitute.
Oh, I'd love to watch that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's that Bible story that God told a prophet to marry a prostitute?
Yes, right. Okay. Oh. That's right. Yeah, so that's why I'm back here, and of course back to the industry, and it's great to be here. And putting this together, of course, I just want to quickly give a shout out to my management, Temple Management, my team. They have been so amazing, making sure they manage everything for my career whilst I was there up until getting back in here, and of course, putting me out there.
You just opened the can of worms in my mind when you said a preacher marrying a prostitute, because recently, let me not do this.
Maria, do you want to steady? Do you want
because
to
this
shake
thing,
the table?
because recently,
yes.
Hey, my pastor is going to kill me.
Please, let's hear the table.
My pastor said very recently, Holy Spirit, please help me. So my pastor was saying recently that, I'll get in trouble.
The whole of Nigeria is like this. For the
I'll tell you in the break. Okay. Because I would have loved you to address the issue, but we'll bring when the movie launches, we'll bring you back and we'll have a conversation. Okay. It's a topic I'll save for another day. But let's talk about marriage. I heard you separated. What happened?
Wow. Okay.
That's a long.
That's been a while.
Status not changed.
Yes, it has
status has changed.
So let's hear.
Oh, status has changed.
Yes.
Oh, we got a new chicken building. We got to talk about that.
No, but really? Oh, wow.
That's Mariah. Okay.
Mariah. Like G's.
Mariah, what do you
so
want
wait.
What is this?
So this new person, is she Nigerian?
No, she's not.
Oh, Abajo. I would have heard about her. I would have Googled and find out this is a non-Nigerian.
So tell us what's happening.
Black. She's African, of course.
Oh, African. South African?
No, from Ghana.
Oh, they got big butt.
So
Morayo.
I'm so sorry. My producer I'm so sorry. Are we still on national TV?
Yes, you just said that on national TV.
I thought
Just with that descriptive.
Let's go on the commercial break, please. Let me take a deep breath. Okay, no. Go ahead, Nima. Let me jump in.
So, Joseph, when I heard the story of the first break and all of that, we didn't get details. Kept wondering.
Details.
What happened? Was that why you left? Was it tough? How did you deal with that?
What's it?
Not necessarily. The move was for me personally. Beyond just having a fresh start, I also wanted to move for my career. It was for growth. Okay. I wanted more from my career, and you can never grow if you keep remaining in your comfort zone. Yes. All right, you never understand the extent to which an elastic can go unless you stretch it. Yeah. So I needed to get out. I'd rather be a shark or a big fish in the ocean than be a big fish in a pond. So I wanted more.
I'm just what I am curious about, and you can decide if you want to talk about it. Is many people would see you young, good-looking, accomplished, speaks well, and then this happened to you. What lessons would you like to share with Nigerians or young men, that may find themselves in situations like that? What are the lessons that they can learn from what you have gone through?
What specifically are we referring to here?
Let me rephrase. Anyway, a fine man like you, a lot of women like you. So why would you be separated? How would leave a fine man like you?
Yes,
what did you do that they would leave a fine man like you?
No. Morayo, the thing is, it's a two-way street, okay? And I would never, that's one thing I've said to myself, play the blame card or play that game, the blame card game. All I would say is that it's best to be happy. And if circumstances and situations at that point was not beneficial for both parties, why not try to create an atmosphere, an environment for you to be happy?
Let it stop right there. Let me not push it further. But you're a father. How is fatherhood? Is it challenging? Is it easy?
It is an amazing journey. I would say that it's an amazing journey, considering the fact that I grew up, of course, with a father, but along the line, I lost my dad and I was raised by my mom. So you having to set certain standards as a father, it's an amazing journey. Being a father to 5 children, that's brilliant. 5? Yes.
You got 5? Somebody bit me. Ooh, yeah. Sorry, I'm on a roll. I do apologize.
Is this
UK water that I drank?
I think so.
I'm on a roll. I do apologize. Okay. All right. But so when is this new movie launching? When is the date? Is there a premiere?
We don't know. I think it'll be sometime in spring of next year, if I'm probably.
You're still recording.
Sometime in spring of next year, because of course we're still going through the process of principal photography. You understand? And yes, I can see Morayo making faces there. And yes, Morayo, 5, yes. The oldest is 20, youngest is 13.
Oh, you got 20-year-old?
Yeah.
Oh, you look good for a 20-year-old. Ross, you're looking at you're
really focus,
Morayo. Misunderstood on this thing.
I need to calm down. Okay, I think that's all we can take on the show.
Yes.
Let's take a few comments.
Yes, Immaculate Boy says, I know of a parent who hired a 13-year-old boy to write a Navy secondary school or JOR entrance exam last July. He bought 2 forms, so the son was also in the exam hall. So both with the same surname. So, son failed, hired boy passed, and son got admitted. So parents are even involved in this scam.
Long ago.
You have an Immaculate Boy says, I wasted 4 years university. The worst student in my secondary school is the richest of us now. The brightest lost his job years back. During the holidays, we were told to go peel egusi seed. I was keen on barbing. I would have been earning money as a barber then.
Okay, we have to wrap up. Moji, any final thoughts, any questions for... I haven't heard you.
You
haven't asked me the question.
I didn't even talk. Do you have questions for...
Please ask him a question.
No, she's trying to say something.
No, she'll pause for you. She knows.
No. Moji asked questions. I was wondering, she didn't tell us about, herself so much.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about
my
you.
chance.
Yes, absolutely.
New month. Is it new month he came to do here?
Wow.
What do you do?
Just 3 shots at me.
No vex.
All right, but okay, so I like to tell my story from my journey. So I'm an ex-banker. I was a banker for 6 years, and then I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm done, and I really need to do something else. So I went to school, got a master's degree, School of Media and Communications.
Oh, my
At Atlantic University. Yes, so I knew from there. And then now I'm a marketing and communication executive for a fintech startup. Oops, that will be announced shortly. CMO of a new fintech. I'm an actor. I host events. Corporate events. And a few social events, brand influencer, I model. Oh, wow. So I left banking.
We can tell. Gorgeous.
I'm telling you. Thank you. Yeah. So I left banking to pursue all of this. Yeah.
Well, that's all. Thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate you, Mojibade.
Thank you.
And Sir, Mr. Joseph, we're waiting to see the movies and the new movies coming up. In regards to your 20-year-old, I'm so proud of you. Well done.
Yes. And the other 4.
The other 4, yeah.
Please, you know.
That's all we can take on the show. Don't worry, I'll get some therapy. I'll be all right. See you Monday.
Oh, my God.
See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Friday.
She just had to
drop that. We need to check what's that ginger.
Really?
Something
What are you drinking?
Something.
Are we still on?
There's something that
we finished now. We finished the show.